This is probably one of the fastest bikes I've built in ages. And I remember Delhi Monkers being slow as fuck. Right then, I've said this about 1,000 times now, but I've got a handful of projects on the go that are slightly bigger than my usual builds, and they're all kind of ticking over, going well, very well and very good, but I wanted to smash out a build. So today we are basically, I went into the shed, grabbed a frame, and then started smashing pieces onto it. I had no plan. Usually I have a sort of an idea of kind of the parts I'm going to use. Sometimes I even have to order some bits and stuff to kind of make it happen. But today I just basically went and grabbed the frame and then just started shoving parts on it until it made sense. And it turned out sick. So the frame in question is this one here. It's the Hooger Booger. I don't know a lot about this frame. I posted a glimpse of it on my Instagram a few days ago, and someone said, "Oh, Hooger Booger, they were really underrated." And I think he said that they were made by Trek in America. So that's all we know about it so far. But if you remember the Diamondback that I built some time ago now for the cheap bike build off at the beginning of the year, this one here, the guy I bought this from, George's Cycles, when I picked it up, I literally went to buy this frame, and whilst I was there, he was kind of showing me some bits and pieces, and then I saw this frame and I was like, give me that one as well, please. The one thing to kind of bear in mind with this frame was the fact that it had the crank arm kind of stuck into it. George had spent some time trying to get it out, and he said by the looks of it, the person who had it before him had also tried to get it out because the threads were pretty much already gone. But he said he was basically going to cut it off, but he just hadn't got around to it. So I was like, don't worry about it, I'll take it and I'll sort it out at some point. Apart from that, it's a solid frame. It is a 1/1/8, so I was like, this will be cool. I can put some nice forks on it. It's, you know, it's a I can't remember what the size is off the top of my head, but I was like, this is a solid bike, so I want to build something cool with it. And then it sat in the shed, like most frames that I purchase, for ages until now. And I went rummaging through, found a frame that I liked, and we now have bike. I could keep talking about it, or we could just start building it, starting with obviously cutting that crank off. Now, the crazy person in me and the eager person in me want to just go straight for cutting this thing off, but the internet would have not liked that. So I actually posted a video of me cutting it off with the angle grinder on Instagram, and several people told me I shouldn't have done that. I did try doing it the normal way first. I tried my crank puller, and this is a very good crank puller. It's not a cheap one. It was just ripping out any threads that were left, and I just couldn't get it out. So a couple of people suggested getting tapered crank pullers. I've not actually seen these. I don't know what they are. I'm going to look into them just because I'm like a new tool like anybody else, but maybe that would help. But this crank isn't that desirable, so and the BB definitely isn't, so we could just gonna chop it off. It would have come off way quicker than that if I had it in something a bit more rigid than this stand. This is just it's a very good bike stand, but it's just a bike stand, so it wobbled about a bit. So it took some time, but very satisfying though. As much as I don't like these kinds of BBs, it was moving freely, so I don't think there's any crust or oh. Yeah, okay, there's quite a bit of crust in it. Well, if you are a follower of this channel and you are into the type of bikes I'm into, we do love a crusty bike, proper crusty ones in fact. But not only just that, I actually have a saying that I really enjoy, which is you can't polish a turd. I spend a lot of time polishing turds, according to some people, and a lot of my bikes are turds to start with, and then I polish them. It's a really bad setup, but I got a new sticker. Introducing Polished Turd. As you can tell from how hard I am getting this focused, it is a mirrored sticker that says Polished Turd. I'm gonna wear this on all my bikes very proudly, and if you are like me and have polished turds in your shed, you might want to check out saveoldbikes.com and pick up one of these bad boy stickers. They're on the website. They're gonna go quite quickly, I imagine, and I think you'll love them. So the fork itself is, the bolt on the top is kind of seized. I just finished work when I was doing this, and I had no strength in me, and I was like, you know what, I can't bother with this right now. So I smashed some of this degreaser in it, and it spins around like no tomorrow now. So for now, this fork is perfectly fine, but I do want to rip it out and get like a nice headset in there with some nice cooler looking forks. But this is fine. We want to build a bike. That's the main thing we want to do right now. So now I'm just going to go around and give the frame a little bit of a clean down. I'm actually using some penetrating oil. This is all Juice Lube's sprays that I'm using. I was going to use some of the bike wash, but I kind of felt like a little bit of the oil would probably be a good idea, just to get in some of the nooks and crannies and stuff as well. Plus it kind of makes it a bit shiny and protects the frame a little bit. So all round good idea, if I don't say so myself. Now my camera did run out of battery here, so we did miss a little bit, but essentially I cleaned out the inside of the frame a little bit and the BB and put a BB in, and now we're going to grease it up and put some cranks on. The cranks in question are these Dior LX, potentially what would have been on this bike, whether they've been black or not, I don't know. But these are some very chipped up, smashed up ones I have. I am going to change the chain ring and bolts later on in the video, but the black I think looks pretty sick. For the first time in ages, I actually have a brand new BB that I put on here. At the moment, the cranks don't move because there's meant to be like a little spacer or a washer on this BB, and I forgot to put it on there. So I had to put it back off again, stick the little black washer on there, which I almost lost, and then it was all good. Next, I wanted to get the seat post in, and this was much easier said than done. I wasn't quite sure what size tube this was. I know it's quite large. I was hoping it's 27.5, but it was not. It was quite a bit bigger. So I did some measuring, and I ordered a shim. The shim that I chose or went with because of my measuring was a 28.6. because that's what I thought the seat post was, but when I put it inside and then put the 27.2 seat post in, it still wasn't enough. I didn't actually realise at this stage, but it just wasn't quite right. I did have a little look and noticed the fact that it actually, the rear end or the bit that you pinch to tighten it was all out of shape. So I did use some like pliers. This is actually a master link removing tool, and like a big spanner to try and separate it a little bit, and I also put some like handlebars in there to kind of almost round it out, and then I actually put another seat post in. This is a 29.2 and it fits like a glove. But no, yeah, seriously, it's 29.2, so I don't have the correct shim, and I'm gonna worry about that later. So these little puppies are called Ardently Add Some Fun parts. I don't really know. They're from AliExpress. I picked them up from Gaz or Grey Shed Bikes on Instagram. He had them, I think maybe someone else had them first. Maybe it was Dave.Bikes.
I can't remember. But yeah, anyway, so they've been on a few bikes, I think, and I've been waiting to put them on something, and I think this is finally the one. They're actually really terrible. We'll talk about that a bit more later though. For now, let's put them on. While we're on the topic of AliExpress, this is the L2 A7 10-speed shifter to go with the 10-speed derailleur that I picked up. I've had a few people ask me to try it, and I figured I'd give it a go. Out of the box, it's very, very similar to the entry-level SRAM stuff. I'd say it's nearly identical, potentially even very similar designed and functionality. I got my finger stuck in it though, so it's a little bit more vicious. On to one of my most exciting parts of any build, which is wheels and tyres. The wheels are these, I think they're called Zeros or something. They're nothing special, but they look cool. The rear one's making a weird sound at the moment, and I don't think I can bring myself to get a wheel builder to kind of look at them because they're insane. And then the tires, for the first time in many builds, we're using Billy Bonkers, but not only that, we're using 2.25s, which I don't often see very often. So when I saw these, I grabbed them immediately. When I first put it on the bike, the B limit screw wasn't quite right. It wasn't quite giving me enough room to get up on that top cog, so I adjusted that. The one thing I would say that I hate about this derailleur, and to be honest, a lot of entry level ones, are like a Phillips head or crosshead screwdriver to adjust them, because it just mangles them. They're always such cheap screws. Should always be an Allen key, like the Advent X, for example. Just, just a thought. I nearly always forget what these are called, but they're like Shimano T1000, T4000. Starts with T, I think. But these V-brakes are really good and generally pretty cheap. You easily find them for 20 quid a set, but more often than not, I've found them for like 25, 30 for a pair. So yeah, pretty good. Massively obsessed with DMR pedals at the moment, but I do have some quite nice Sam Hill, like nuke proof ones. These are pretty hefty. They were crazy expensive, but I got them when when Wiggle died of death. I think I got them for like 5 quid or something. I think they retail like almost £150, which is insane because they are not that good. They're nice, but they're not that good. I don't know if everybody does this, but once I put the chain on, I generally try and shift through the gears by hand before I put any cables on it. It did start rubbing up against the spokes at this point. I just did a little bit of indexing with the screws, limit screws and stuff, and it was absolutely fine. But for a second, I was like, oh no, I now need to go and change the wheels and blah, 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 blah. So we got lucky. These are my favourite brake levers when it comes to V-brakes. So the Avids, I don't know which model exactly, but they're my favourite mainly because they work really well and they're really easy to find. I'm pretty sure they're like 15, 13 maybe pounds on like Amazon. but they've also got sticky fingers on them, which are one of those sort of things that you try out and you're like, yeah, that's whatever, but then now you can't stop thinking about them. These also are my favourite grips. These are Def Grips by DMR. I'm interested to know if, when it comes to like what I refer to as kind of like soft goods, so you know, grips and saddles, but I'd say pedals and stuff as well. Soft goods is not the right word. Finishing kit, basically. What's your favourite go-to pedals, grips, and seats? I want to know about them. Put them in the comments below. You all know which ones I use on every single bike. I want to know about yours. I often get asked about brake cables and kind of setting up these sort of bits and pieces, and I always say that I'm going to do a breakdown of exactly how I'm going to do it. I have actually planned that now, and I know exactly how I'm going to do it, yeah, well, that's it. I'll get to that shortly, but that's the brakes all set up and dialed in. These things are so easy to get right. I really do love them, and yeah, they're looking good. So I've actually, by this point, I've done the indexing on the shifter as well and the derailleur, and I was quite impressed. I think my battery might have run out of my camera at this point, but one thing is, usually when you go to the easier gears, it's kind of, you can flick through a few gears at a time. This is indexed on both, so it's like click 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 click. I don't know if that's a problem. I've never had one that does that. I kind of like it, not gonna lie. The one thing I didn't like, and you can kind of see here, is the fact that there's a kind of down sweep in the handlebar, and it's the most uncomfortable, weird, unnatural handlebar I've ever used. So we need to change that up. So I dug through all my handlebars and stems, and I did find this little combo. So these are Brand X handlebars. I think I got them for £2, and then a stem of some sort. The stem has got a bit of a rise in it, but we find out later that it's a bit too much of a rise. You can kind of see here, it didn't feel comfortable, and I kind of didn't like the stem adapter. There was too much going on that I didn't quite like, so I went back through all the parts bins, and I remembered that the actual Hooger Booger came with a stem that it originally came with, this one, and this fits perfectly with these handlebars, and I decided this is the way to go. As usual, I completely emptied the shed trying to get all the bits and pieces I needed, cover the garden and stuff, and the heavens opened and it rained big time and got everything wet. So I'm just telling you that because I can, not that I needed to. Should we go look at the bike?
I tell you what though, it is probably one of my favourite bikes I've built in a while, and it is crazy fast and a lot of fun to ride in the city. There is a couple of things we need to talk about though, since building the bike. There's a couple of things I've changed. So first things first is the seat post. It's now got a charged chopstick on there, and I was gonna put a charged spoon saddle, but I found this gusset, I'm not sure what the model is, saddle, and when I was looking online at it, one, it looks cool because of the leopard print, or tiger print, leopard print, cheetah print, whatever the print is. It looks nearly identical to a charged spoon, and I can inform you right now, it's pretty much identical. I'm going to ride it a little bit longer before I say anything, but I've been worried recently that I'm not going to be able to find charged spoons for much longer, so I needed something as a backup. I may have found it, so that's one thing. The other thing I changed was the chainring. So it is the chainrings from Atelier Medium, the French brand that have made the Eugene Fort that I've put on previous bikes, and other chainrings and bits and pieces. So shout out to them. And then I think that was it. The one thing I do want to do next though, I quite like the idea of putting a dropper post onto this, but not only a dropper post, an internally routed dropper post. Not for any real practical reasons, just because it would be funny to do. And then maybe we should put some disc tabs on it, because that's kind of what I'm obsessed with doing at the moment, and get some hydraulic brakes on it and really like fill this bike out, because it's way more fun than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be a bit of a laugh and then I'd just be like, yeah, we'll move on other bikes, whatever. But I really like it, so yes, that's that. So don't forget to check out saveourbikes.com for those polished turd stickers, but for everybody who messages me nearly daily, the warning fun stickers are restocked on the website. If you don't know what these are the warning. This bike was built for fun. Please ride irresponsibly. This is the perfect sticker for that bike that I've just finished building, and maybe it's the perfect sticker for your bike. So saveourbikes.com is the place to go. And that's that. I will say now though, there is another build coming next week, so don't be shy. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you can't wait until that next video, that one there is a particularly good one.